Hiori Yoh is currently one of the best players in Blue Lock. He has also been one of my favorites ever since his introduction, just from his calm demeanor, his ability to read the field, and how helpful he was to Isagi. But his character continued to evolve as the story went on. So in this video, we will be discussing his abilities as well as his character. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more in the future, leave a like and subscribe. We're currently trying to get to 3,000 and I'm counting on y'all for that. With all that being said, let's get into it. First, let's talk about his abilities. Just like everyone else from Blue Lock, Hiori was originally a striker, but as of recent, he has been a fantastic midfielder. Not only being one of the best passers, competing with the likes of Sai, Charles, and Ness, he also happens to be a great dribbler as is shown during the Ubers game. Possessing meta vision, his playmaking ability is also insane. He is able to share Isagi's vision and keep up with his plays, something that Yukimiya and Kurona were not able to do once Isagi reached a certain level. But Hiori has proven to be able to keep up with the current Isagi as well as Kaiser at the same time, even being the best option to help that team up. His defense is nothing to be played with, as he was able to stop range shot that beat both Isagi and Kaiser at the beginning of the game, but he also managed to counter Charles during that game. Overall, Hiori is a strong, well-rounded player who relies on his vision to create the best opportunities for himself and the rest of the team. Specializing in long passes makes him the ideal facilitator for not only Isagi but any striker. Passes that were said to already rival those of Sai during the U20 game. We still have no idea what his current stats are, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was above the 90s, as he's currently one of the best players that we have, better than players like Bachira, Chigiri, or Yukimiya. And now with the abilities out of the way, it is time to talk about his character. First thing first, I think Hiori has one of the best backstories in the series, and also one of the more relatable ones. Hiori's parents were two silver medalists who always tried their hardest to get that first place but were never able to. Upon having a child, they both decided to put all their trust into him. Hiori was gonna be the one to become the best in the world at something. Up to this point, everything seems fine. It's just having expectations with your son and wanting them to be great. But not only Hiori didn't have as much interest in the sport, he quickly realized that his parents didn't even have any care for him. Hiori always saw his parents smile when he was on the field, which is something that obviously made him happy. So he kept playing because he would make his parents happy. He thought they really loved him and wanted to be the greatest for them. Until one day where he caught them arguing. They were complaining to each other about his numbers not being high enough and putting the blame on the other for not doing their job right. He hears them say that they only married each other for one reason, because they wanted their son to be the best in the world. And if that ends up being a failure, they would simply get divorced because there is no longer a purpose. They don't even love each other or have love for their son. Hiori then fell down and made a loud noise, so his parent came to check on him. To his surprise, they are only freaking out because there is a possibility he won't be able to play. They wanted to make sure that his legs were okay, or is everything okay for him to keep playing. At that point, he started hating his parents, but there wasn't much he could do. He had to keep playing football because the moment he stopped, his parents would divorce. So the only way to keep the family together and avoid any trouble is to keep playing. So the only thing that helped him even feel good about anything was seeing his life as some sort of game. He just has to become the best in order to keep his family together. A family that makes him sick, a family that doesn't even love him and that he doesn't even love. So as he received the invitation for Blue Lock, his parents were obviously excited as it would be a great opportunity for him. But he only saw this as an opportunity to run away from home. And if things go right for him, he would never have to go back and never have to see his parents again. So he didn't even go there to be the best in the world like everybody else. His initial plan was to simply stay away from his family. I love this backstory so much because of how simple it is. It is a real life thing for parents to put high expectation on their children, which ends up ruining their relationship, and this is a prime example of this. Later on, he ends up meeting Karasu, who is very good at rating people. Karasu guessed that he didn't even enjoy the sport, which he admitted, and then asked Karasu how would he feel if he had such high expectations on himself, to which Karasu simply replied that he has to make his own expectation. He has to become what he wants to become. He can't let other people's expectations slow him down, which obviously stuck with him and was a big part of his awakening later in the arc. Once Hiori got on the field for the first time in the new Egoist League, he was just surprised by the talent and the skill level that was around him. Acknowledging how good players like Barou and Kaiser were, wondering how Isagi was managing to keep up with them. And even while trying his best, everything he could see was getting countered by somebody else. But somehow Isagi believed in him. He realized that he was the key to Isagi's awakening. He realized realized that he was the only one that could help Isagi in this situation, and that if he wasn't there before, Isagi probably wouldn't even have got to this point. But he remembered Karasu's words again, having his own expectations for himself and worrying about what others have to say later. His whole life, Hiori never made a choice. He went from playing football because it made his family happy to playing it to prevent his family from falling apart. He was sick of his parents, he's sick of seeing them, he's sick of hearing about them, because they are essentially the people who ruined and are currently still actively ruining his life. At this point, Hiori decided that he wanted to see Isagi go further. Him being the one who holds the keys to his awakening, he has to see it through. But after trying a couple times, he realized that maybe the sport wasn't for him. He only played the sport because he was scared of losing the only people that could possibly love him. But at least at this point, he has his answer, and he knows that he can't keep up with this high of a level. For the first time, he's making his own decision. He will quit football after this game, but for as long as he plays, he will do the best he can to help Isagi. But Isagi still believed in him and wanted him to try helping him once more. He realized that expectations were being put on him again, but these weren't expectations that bothered him. He was actually fine with it because they are sharing the same goal currently. But as he kept playing, he realized that he wasn't really doing all that for Isagi. He started realizing that he also has his own ego. He was like he entered a trance state. How much of his mind and body he was throwing into this. He felt something that he could never have before, finally feeling what it is to have his own expectations. Hiori had shown so much potential as a player in the previous arc, but I always had a feeling that once he actually starts caring for the sport, he will be one of the best. That evolution was just beautiful. We saw him cook Lorenzo, who is currently the best defender, multiple times. Could even see him destroy players like Nico and Barou. This was right after they explained that with Barou's help, the defense becomes a lot easier. But here we are looking at Hiori shredding through said defense. We had comments from Uber's random saying that he was too good. Nico straight up admitting that he can't beat him in a one-on-one, but at least he can try to slow him down. But even that didn't work as Hiori himself was constantly evolving. For the final goal, Hiori and Isagi came to the conclusion that it was just impossible to win normally. Hiori as a passer would not have the ability to score right there. Isagi without a perfect pass would not have the ability to score either. For the last play, they decided to completely ignore each other. Hiori was not playing to pass the ball to Isagi. Without looking at each other or paying any mind to each other, Hiori passed the ball at the most optimal spot. Isagi positioned himself at the most optimal spot, and their shared vision took them to the exact same spot, resulting in Isagi scoring the final goal. Explained to us that this is only possible if they share the same winning vision. Two players trying to play off each other is not gonna work, and one of the players trying to adjust to another one isn't gonna work either. It is only when the two separately come up with the same game-winning conclusion that we're able to see something like this. Which is why from that point on, Hiori decided that he won't be Isagi's duo, but he would be aiming for the perfect spot at all times. The striker that can position themselves at that perfect spot will be the one to receive it, and he won't hesitate to discard any player who can't keep up with it. He was planning to quit after the game, but after experiencing this, all he wants is to do more. From that point, his life revolves around himself. He will no longer be based on what his parents think about it, on what his teammates think about it. He finally has a reason to play football from his own free will, and seeing that progression from his character was one of the most beautiful things in the series, which obviously feels great when he was one of the players that I invested in very early on in his story arc. He then went into the PXG game as one of the heaviest hitters in the game, stopping opponents' attacks and evolving at the highest pace, being able to link up and keep up with Isagi and Kaiser no matter how high they were going. Hiori started as one of my favorite characters based on potential and vibes alone, but as of recent he has not only proven to be one of the best players, but also one of the better written characters in Blue Lock. Let me know in the comments how you feel about Hiori's progression as a character. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to leave a like on the video and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more in the future. Y'all are finally getting the video that I promised 2 years ago. Make sure you leave a like and let me know which character you would like to see in the future. With all this being said, I appreciate y'all for making it to this point, and I will see y'all next time. Peace.